I gathered my belongings and disappeared the moment my wife initiated the divorce proceedings, but 15 years later, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. Dear wonderful viewers of Cheating Tales Lab, we are eager to know, from which corner of the globe are you tuning in to join us? We would appreciate your feedback. Let us embark on the journey of today's tale. Chapter 1. The foundation. Mark Lawson had forged his empire from the very depths of obscurity. At the age of 42, he had established 3 thriving construction companies throughout Texas. Each stands as a tribute to his unwavering dedication and calculated intellect. His calloused hands carried the marks of his youth spent wielding hammers. Yet now, those very hands have inked million-dollar contracts and deftly orchestrated intricate business deals with meticulous precision. The Fry family compound sprawled across 50 acres just outside Austin, a testament to Wayne's remarkable achievements. The primary residence, where he shared life with his wife Sarah and their 2 children, boasted a breathtaking vista of undulating hills and majestic oak trees. On the property, 2 modest houses sheltered his sister Jessica Grant and her young son Ethan Grant, as well as his aging parents. Wayne had always held the conviction that family was paramount, a belief that was about to face its greatest challenge. At 38, Laura Hartman remained a captivating figure, her auburn hair and green eyes still drawing attention. She had wed Wayne 15 years prior, when he was merely a hopeful contractor brimming with ambition. She had remained steadfast by his side during the challenging times, meticulously overseeing his accounts and graciously hosting clients. Yet success had transformed her. With the expansion of Wayne's fortune, her appetite for opulence flourished, accompanied by a growing discontent with their tranquil existence. Initially, the fissures in their marriage were barely perceptible. Sarah's growing absences, her newfound passion for yoga classes that appeared to extend later each week, her abrupt preoccupation with her appearance after years of cozy domesticity. Wayne, driven by his ambition to grow his business empire, had first regarded these changes as a part of natural evolution. It was their 16-year-old daughter, Maya Fry, who first expressed her doubts. "Father, Mom's been acting strange," she remarked one evening as they toiled side by side in Wayne's workshop. Maya Fry possessed her father's keen analytical mind and his skepticism towards easy answers. She has been receiving messages at all hours, concealing her phone from view. Wayne's 14-year-old son Luke Fry, who found greater allure in video games than in the intricacies of family drama, had nonetheless begun to observe certain patterns. He would casually remark on the distinct scent of Mom's car, resembling the scent of a man's fragrance. At first, Wayne had brushed aside these observations, yet his experience in construction had instilled in him the understanding that even the tiniest of cracks could lead to the collapse of entire edifices. He started to observe closely, and what he uncovered would transform his entire understanding of loyalty and betrayal. It was a Tuesday evening in March when the revelation unfolded. Wayne arrived home sooner than expected from a job site in Houston, only to discover that Sarah's car was missing. A note left behind stated that she was attending her book club. Yet, Wayne was well aware that the book club gathered every Thursday. For months, the calendar invitations had been arriving in his inbox. A brief journey past the community center validated his doubts. The expanse of the parking lot lay desolate. Mark Lawson embodied a multitude of traits, yet naivety was not among them. He had come of age in East Austin during its gritty days, battling through high school while juggling construction jobs, and had discovered early on that trust was a rare commodity he could not indulge in. These lessons had proven invaluable in the realm of business, yet he had succumbed to the notion that marriage held a different essence, that family was a sanctified bond. On that fateful night, he resolved to take a step that would shape the course of all that was to come. He chose not to confront Sarah right away. Rather, he would collect information, meticulously constructing his case with the same systematic strategy he employed in planning construction projects. Mark Lawson held a steadfast belief in the power of preparation, ensuring he possessed all the facts before embarking on any course of action. It was a principle that had brought him fortune, and now it would fulfill a more sinister role. Chapter 2. Blueprints of Betrayal. The investigation commenced at dawn the following day. Wayne possessed resources that most betrayed husbands could only fantasize about, a web of contractors, suppliers, and workers scattered across Central Texas, all indebted to him in one way or another. Of greater significance was James Carson, the head of security and a lifelong friend, who had dedicated 2 tours to Afghanistan prior to his tenure with Wayne's organization. "I need you to handle something delicate," Wayne said to Roberto, the morning sun spilling into his office and stretching long shadows over the blueprints and contracts scattered on the table. "Sarah has been deceitful about her whereabouts. I seek to uncover the truth." Roberto's scarred visage held an air of stoic indifference. For 8 years, he stood by Wayne's side, witnessing him navigate the storms of business crises and family trials with unwavering composure. Yet, a distinct chill had crept into Wayne's voice, a familiar sharpness that Roberto recalled from their time in the military. "Are you seeking observation?" Roberto inquired. "A comprehensive view. Her destinations, the individuals she encounters, the duration of this unfolding tale. All things. In the span of a week, Roberto meticulously compiled an extensive dossier. For the past 6 months, Sarah had been under the care of Dr. Daniel Moore, a cardiologist at the Austin Heart Institute. The affair had commenced with an air of innocence. Sarah found herself in the care of medical professionals after grappling with chest pains, which ultimately revealed themselves to be rooted in anxiety. Yet Dr. Springer, recently untethered from marriage and exuding a charisma that flowed effortlessly from his status as a successful surgeon, had recognized a chance. The images captured by the surveillance cameras were undeniably incriminating. Sarah and Cameron sat at lavish restaurants Wayne had never experienced, their hands intertwined across tables adorned with cantaloupe hues. As Sarah and Cameron stepped into the downtown condo, the space unfolded before them, a testament to Roberto's diligent research, revealing it to be Cameron's freshly acquired bachelor pad. Sarah and Cameron attended medical conferences in Dallas and San Antonio, conferences that aligned with Sarah's alleged gatherings with her college friends. Yet, it was the financial records that ignited a deep fury within Wayne. Sarah had been tapping into their shared accounts to finance the affair. Lavish feasts, escapes for the weekend, even presents for Cameron that featured a Rolex watch, acquired with Wayne's funds. She had pilfered from him to fund her treachery, leveraging his achievements to finance his own degradation. "There's more," Roberto remarked during their final briefing, gliding a folder over the polished surface of Wayne's mahogany desk. "Springer carries a notable reputation. This is not his initial entanglement with a married patient. Whispers in the hospital corridors hint that this isn't his first time, specifically aimed at affluent spouses." Wayne examined the surveillance photos with a focus that mirrored his dedication to construction sites. Within the confines of his thoughts, he was meticulously constructing something anew. Not merely a framework of timber and metal, but a meticulously crafted scheme of vengeance, poised to be equally intricate and infinitely more destructive. "What would you like me to do?" Roberto inquired. Wayne remained silent for an extended pause. His fingers tapped a steady beat on the desk, a rhythm that Roberto had come to dread. When Wayne finally spoke, his voice resonated with unwavering conviction. "Begin charting their daily habits. Every location they visit, every individual they encounter, every routine they maintain. I aspire to understand their world more profoundly than they themselves do." Wayne's eyes, typically radiating warmth when speaking of family, had transformed into the chill of winter steel. "What about Roberto?" "Begin to explore Dr. Springer's history. All things. It seems to me that a man who targets vulnerable women may harbor other intriguing secrets waiting to be uncovered." As Roberto departed to embark on his more profound inquiry, Wayne lingered at his office window, gazing out at the construction site where his latest project was gradually coming to life. 30 tales of glass and steel ascending from what was once barren earth mere months prior. It stood as a reflection of Wayne's beliefs. With careful planning, ample resources, and unwavering determination, one could create anything, even vengeance. Chapter 3. The Architect's Gambit. 3 weeks into his investigation, Wayne had pieced together a vivid tableau of his wife's betrayal and the intricate patterns of her lover. Yet, it was the revelation Roberto unearthed regarding Dr. Daniel Moore's history that shifted Wayne's fury into a far more perilous force, measured wrath aimed with precision. Daniel Moore was more than a mere serial adulterer. He moved with the precision of a calculated hunter. Roberto's connections within the medical community unveiled a recurring theme that spanned 5 years. Cameron meticulously set his sights on the spouses of affluent men, employing his charisma and status to embark on clandestine liaisons, which he subsequently exploited for monetary advantage. 2 past relationships concluded with significant loans that remained unpaid, and one ex-partner had discreetly transferred ownership of a prized property to Cameron before her spouse uncovered the affair. Roberto elucidated the intricacies of a long-term deception, meticulously arranging financial documents across Wayne's conference table. Employs the intricacies of relationships to forge emotional reliance, subsequently persuading these women to assist him with fleeting financial Dilmaya fries or investment prospects. Before their husbands even realize what's happening, he has already shifted his focus to the next unsuspecting victim. Wayne scrutinized the evidence, a sense of admiration for Cameron's strategy blossoming within him, even as his animosity intensified. Here stood a man who grasped the essence of leverage, meticulously orchestrating his strategies years ahead of time. Under other conditions, Wayne could have admired such calculated manipulation. Yet Cameron had committed a grave mistake. He had set his sights on the incorrect family. What has Sarah provided him with up to this point? Wayne inquired. There are no significant developments at this moment, but indications suggest he is transitioning into the next phase. She has been inquiring about your business assets and your investment accounts. Last week, she confided in him that you are contemplating the purchase of property in Costa Rica, a detail that could only have emerged from our intimate discussions. Wayne's jaw clenched with tension. Sarah was not merely betraying their marriage. She was poised to undermine all that he had painstakingly constructed. The property in Costa Rica formed a crucial element of his long-term estate planning, a matter he had entrusted to her in confidence as they contemplated the future of their children. To witness that profound trust turned into a weapon against him transcended mere infidelity. It was a declaration of hostilities. Yet Mark Lawson had not amassed his fortune by succumbing to emotional responses in the face of danger. Instead, he embarked on crafting the most intricate endeavor of his life, a snare so convoluted and catastrophic that both Sarah and Cameron would bring about their own ruin in their desperate attempts to break free. The scheme took shape with Adam Lawson, the youngest sibling of Wayne and the outlier of the Fry clan. Greg had always possessed a remarkable intellect, yet it often eluded direction, as he flitted from one unsuccessful venture to another, chasing fleeting dreams of quick wealth. Recently, he had been crafting a cryptocurrency trading platform that seemed to reside more in the realm of theory than in actual application. Wayne had persistently declined to invest, viewing Greg's endeavors as overly risky and inadequately strategized. Please reach out to Sarah. In a secluded corner of a downtown restaurant, Wayne imparted his guidance to Greg during a private meeting. Inform her that you've discovered a genuine business opportunity, one that is truly groundbreaking in the realm of cryptocurrency. Transform it into the foundation of the next Bitcoin revolution. Greg's eyes sparkled with a blend of bewilderment and optimism. Wayne, you have always been skeptical of my endeavors. What has transformed? Perhaps I've been overly cautious, Wayne responded, his voice artfully calibrated to convey a sense of hesitant acknowledgement. However, I require complete confidentiality. This remains within the family circle until I feel prepared to share it with the world. In the ensuing fortnight, Greg executed his part with impeccable precision. With a mix of nervous excitement, he reached out to Sarah, sharing the news of his groundbreaking AI-driven cryptocurrency trading algorithm, one that promised to predict market movements with an accuracy never seen before. The technology existed in its tangible form. Greg had poured months of effort into it, yet it remained fundamentally flawed and far from being ready for investment. With a precision that mirrored Wayne's expectations, Sarah fell for the bait. She inundated Greg with inquiries regarding possible returns, investment thresholds, and the timeline for achieving profitability. As Greg spoke of Wayne's contemplation of a significant family investment, shrouded in secrecy for tax considerations, Sarah's curiosity surged with fervor. In the span of a week, she orchestrated a chance encounter between Cameron and Greg at a quaint coffee shop close to the hospital. The introduction flowed effortlessly. Sarah casually noted that her brother-in-law was working on something intriguing in the realm of technology. How intriguing it would be if Cameron were to cross paths with him. Wayne observed as the elements aligned, experiencing the fulfillment of a creator witnessing their vision materialize. Cameron, as expected, found himself captivated by the prospect of tapping into Wayne's fortune through what appeared to be a harmless investment. With a heart full of hope, Greg eagerly presented his half-formed algorithm, convinced that he was finally receiving the familial backing he had long desired for his endeavor. Yet, the true brilliance of Wayne was still on the horizon. He had crafted this initial move not merely to unveil their avarice, but to orchestrate the ideal circumstances for their downfall. Unbeknownst to Sarah and Cameron, Wayne had meticulously orchestrated this moment from the very day he first sensed her treachery. As spring blossomed into summer, the scene was poised for a narrative that would challenge every bond in Wayne's existence, revealing that certain betrayals resonate with repercussions that extend well beyond the initial transgression. The groundwork of Wayne's vengeance was now set and solidifying. Before long, the moment would arrive to start constructing a testament to his mercilessness, a stark reminder to any who dared to challenge him once more. Chapter 4. By July, Wayne's intricate trap was building momentum with the meticulousness of a masterfully orchestrated construction endeavor. Sarah found herself drawn deeper into Greg's cryptocurrency venture. Her curiosity piqued as she posed insightful questions about Wayne's role and the possibilities for early investment opportunities. She had become more daring in her relationship with Cameron, often disappearing for whole weekends under increasingly tenuous excuses. Wayne upheld his guise of the devoted husband with a performance deserving of an Oscar. He inquired about her book club gatherings, showed worry when she mentioned feeling unwell on evenings she was truly with Cameron, and even proposed the idea of organizing a second honeymoon for their approaching anniversary. Every exchange was meticulously orchestrated to provide Sarah with ample opportunity to entangle herself further. The moment of revelation arrived when Roberto unearthed the fact that Cameron had embarked on an in-depth exploration of Wayne's vast business empire. The surveillance footage from the hospital captured Cameron as he navigated through medical databases, extracting details about affluent patients. Meanwhile, his online search history unveiled extensive investigations into Fry Construction's financial records and real estate assets. During their weekly briefing, Roberto revealed that he is assessing you as if you were a target. This has transcended beyond Sarah. He is orchestrating a grander scheme. Wayne had foreseen this turn of events. Individuals such as Cameron found no fulfillment in mere small victories. They perpetually extended their grasp, consistently exceeding the limits. It was a vulnerability that Wayne planned to manipulate without mercy. The subsequent phase called for Luke Higgins, Wayne's most reliable accountant, a man instrumental in orchestrating every significant transaction within Wayne's portfolio. 2 decades prior, Luke had journeyed from Ireland, armed with advanced degrees in finance and a knack for creative problem-solving that danced along the fringes of legality, yet never quite crossed the line. "I need you to create a shell company," Wayne instructed Luke during a private meeting in his home office. An appearance of authenticity, intricately woven with layers that obscure our genuine motives. Luke's weathered visage etched with worry. "Wayne, what are your intentions?" That expression is all too familiar, and it often signals that trouble is on the horizon for someone. "Have faith in me," Wayne responded. "However, it is essential that this is executed flawlessly. A single misstep, and the entire structure crumbles." Luke dedicated the following week to crafting a complex corporate framework, intricately designed around Fry Digital Ventures, a seemingly credible investment firm focused on cutting-edge technologies. The company, on the surface, boasted considerable support from Wayne's construction empire and was in pursuit of groundbreaking technological investments. In truth, it was a cleverly crafted honeypot, meticulously designed to lure in precisely the type of scheme that Cameron and Sarah were concocting. In the meantime, Jessica Grant, Wayne's sister, had observed shifts in Sarah's demeanor that transcended the usual trials of marriage. Jessica Grant, a former social worker with keen insights into human nature, had dedicated years to observing the intricate family dynamics from her home on the compound. "Wayne, I'm not quite sure what's happening between you and Sarah," Jessica Grant remarked as they strolled through the property on one of their customary evening walks. "Yet Maya Fry and Luke Fry are beginning to sense the underlying tension. Yesterday, Maya Fry inquired whether you and Sarah were in the process of getting a divorce." Wayne experienced a brief surge of authentic anguish upon hearing this revelation. His children had always been the driving force behind every endeavor he undertook, and the mere idea of their family's ruin impacting them struck him with a pain more profound than Sarah's treachery. Yet, it fortified his determination. Sarah had made the choice to dismantle their family, driven by her own selfish desires. She would confront the repercussions of that decision. "I've got it under control," Wayne assured Jessica Grant. "However, I must ask that you keep the children nearby for the upcoming weeks. Consider organizing some engaging activities, perhaps a camping trip or a visit to see Mom and Dad in San Antonio. Simply occupy their time and divert their attention from what lies ahead." Jessica Grant's gaze traversed her brother's features, deciphering the resolve and icy fury that echoed from their youth, a time when Wayne had stood guard against bullies and their father's intoxication. "Wayne, whatever you have in mind, it will be precisely what they deserve," Wayne concluded. "Neither excess nor deficiency." The week that followed unveiled the chance Wayne had been meticulously crafting. Greg reached out to Sarah, bursting with sensational news. Wayne had committed to investing $2 million in the cryptocurrency venture, yet he felt the urgency to act swiftly to evade regulatory scrutiny. The investment was set to flow through Fry Digital Ventures, and Greg found himself in need of a trusted ally to navigate the intricate technical details of the arrangement. Sarah felt her heart race as she grasped the enormity of the chance before her. $2 million would suffice for her and Cameron to vanish together, provided they could discover a means to tap into even a fraction of it. Without hesitation, she reached out to Cameron, who recognized the same potential and started crafting a strategy to establish himself as a technical consultant for the investment. Yet Wayne had already anticipated 3 moves in advance. The investment held substance, the funds were tangible, and the cryptocurrency algorithm proved sufficiently operational to withstand preliminary examination. Unbeknownst to Sarah and Cameron, every facet of the deal was meticulously crafted to unveil their true intentions, all the while granting Wayne both legal and financial dominion over them. With the arrival of August, everything began to align perfectly. Wayne crafted his trap with the meticulous care he applied to his most intricate construction endeavors. Soon, the moment would arrive to unveil his plan, and in that instant, both Sarah and Cameron would realize they had been outsmarted by a man who played by his own rules when the fate of his family hung in the balance. The foundation stood firm, the structure ascended, and Mark Lawson was on the verge of revealing why crossing him was a blunder that would haunt individuals for the remainder of their days. Chapter 5. The framework expands. The call arrived at precisely 3:47 a.m. on a stifling August evening. Wayne had been awake for some time, poring over contracts in the quiet of his home office, when the shrill ring of his phone shattered the stillness, revealing Jessica Grant's voice laced with urgency. "Wayne, there seems to be an issue with Ethan Grant. He rang me, his voice a tempest, lamenting the gaping holes in the backyard, a frantic tale of being buried alive. He seems to have vanished without a trace." Wayne felt a chill seep through his veins. Ethan Grant, Wayne's 8-year-old nephew, radiated joy within the family. A curious soul, he trailed behind Wayne at construction sites, his mind brimming with questions about the intricacies of building. The notion of a threat directed at him ignited a seething fury within Wayne, a tempest of rage surging through his very being. "Where is his mother?" Wayne insisted, already striding toward his truck. Jessica Grant's car hums softly in the driveway, yet she remains conspicuously absent. Within the confines of her home, her purse rests quietly, while her phone lies unattended on the kitchen counter. It feels as though she simply disappeared into thin air. Wayne's thoughts surged like a tempest as he navigated the brief journey to Jessica Grant's home. This seemed amiss, far too convenient, too impeccably aligned with his intentions for Sarah and Cameron. As he eased into Jessica Grant's driveway, the glow of his headlights revealed an unsettling sight that sent his tactical instincts into overdrive. Fresh holes scattered across the backyard, each measuring roughly 3 feet deep and 2 feet wide. Insufficient for tombs, yet ample enough to conceal an object or a person. Minutes later, Roberto arrived, his security training apparent as he scanned the scene with a keen, professional eye. "The holes," he reported, "are recent, having been dug within the last few hours. But observe this, He gestured toward the tire tracks etched in the yielding soil. Two automobiles. One aligns with Jessica Grant's Honda, yet the other boasts a more substantial size. Perhaps an SUV? Wayne's phone vibrated, a message arriving from an unfamiliar number. Your nephew is secure. Your sister is secure. Yet, their ongoing welfare hinges upon your collaboration. Further information will be provided soon. The implications struck Wayne with the force of a tangible impact. A revelation had emerged, exposing his inquiry into Sarah and Cameron. A decision had been made to act preemptively, wielding his family as a means of manipulation. But who, indeed? What was their level of understanding? 40 minutes later, the response arrived, encapsulated in a solitary photograph within a text message. Ethan Grant and Jessica Grant, unmistakably alive yet gripped by fear, found themselves seated in what seemed to be a construction trailer. The backdrop revealed stark concrete walls and the harsh glow of industrial lighting that Wayne instantly recognized. It was a sight he had once called his own. In the heart of the downtown project, Wayne addressed Roberto, his voice eerily composed, even as the tempest of anger swirled within him. The sight of the Meridian Tower. Roberto had already begun his approach to the vehicle. It may very well be a snare. Indeed, it's a trap, Wayne responded. Yet they committed a grave mistake. My family has been drawn into this situation, and they are exploiting my own property to carry it out. That suggests their understanding of me is not as deep as they believe it to be. The journey into the heart of the city unfolded over 20 minutes, the vacant streets offering Wayne a moment to contemplate the intricacies of the tactical landscape before him. It was evident that someone had been closely observing his inquiry into Sarah and Cameron, foreseeing his every step, and had chosen to exploit this knowledge by menacing his loved ones. Yet, the selection of this particular location hinted at either an astonishing hubris or a profound misapprehension of the entity they were confronting. The construction site of the Meridian Tower stood as Wayne's most audacious endeavor. 40 narratives of mixed-use development poised to transform Austin's skyline. Of greater significance, it stood out as the most rigorously overseen and security-aware location within his collection. Every entrance lay under the watchful gaze of cameras. Each tool and piece of equipment was tethered to GPS tracking, and the entire perimeter buzzed with motion sensors, vigilantly overseen by Roberto's team around the clock. As they neared the security fence, Roberto noted that whoever had taken them must have had access to the site. Everything should have been captured by the cameras they possessed. The security footage unveiled a breathtaking act of treachery that pierced Wayne's heart more profoundly than Sarah's infidelity ever had. The kidnappers did not force their way into the site. Rather, they were granted entry by an individual possessing legitimate access, a person whom Wayne held in high regard. The surveillance footage revealed David Crawford, Wayne's project foreman and a man he had regarded as a friend for more than 10 years. Unlocking the main gate at 2:15 a.m. Gene had been with Wayne since the inception, entrusted with the keys to every property and granted access to every project. He had shared meals at Wayne's table, rejoiced in the Christmas festivities with the family, and embraced the role of Maya Fry's godfather. Yet, the video unveiled another layer. Gene was not operating in solitude, as Jessica Grant's Honda trailed behind Gene's truck onto the site. Wayne's gaze caught a glimpse of a third figure seated in the passenger side of Gene's vehicle. A figure, one who had been guiding Gene, orchestrating this operation with an intimate understanding that could only stem from months of meticulous scrutiny. The third figure emerged from the truck, illuminated by the harsh glow of the construction lights. And in that moment, Wayne's world shifted dramatically. It was indeed Sarah. His wife had not merely been involved in an affair. She had been scheming to rob him as well. She had been meticulously crafting a calculated scheme to dismantle all that he had constructed, wielding his own employees and family as instruments of his downfall. The gaps in Jessica Grant's backyard, the shadowy abduction at midnight, the deliberate selection of his construction site. Each element was meticulously crafted to illustrate that Wayne's empire could be dismantled by someone intimately familiar with its vulnerabilities. Yet, Sarah had fallen into the same trap that every adversary Wayne had encountered throughout his journey ultimately succumbed to. She had believed that Wayne Frey's most formidable asset lay in his affluence and his network. She had not grasped that his real strength resided in his unwavering ruthlessness when it came to defending what he cherished, and his readiness to give up everything, even his own life, to safeguard his family. What is the strategy moving forward? Roberto inquired, meticulously inspecting his weapon as they readied themselves to breach the site. Wayne's smile carried a chill that Roberto had never encountered in all their years of camaraderie. The strategy is straightforward. We shall reveal to my wife and her companions the consequences that befall those who dare to threaten a member of the Fry family. And when we reach the conclusion, all parties engaged will come to realize why betraying me was the final error they will ever commit. The snare Sarah believed she had crafted was on the verge of leading to her own undoing. Wayne was determined to savor each and every moment. Chapter 6. With a calculated approach reminiscent of soldiers navigating hostile ground, Wayne and Roberto made their way to the Meridian Tower site. Wayne had meticulously constructed this project from its very foundation, familiar with each corridor and stairwell, every concealed nook and elevated perspective. If Sarah believed that turning his own construction site against him was a stroke of genius, she was on the brink of discovering the distinction between merely knowing a building's blueprints and truly grasping its essence. On the 15th floor, Roberto observed, keeping a vigilant eye on the GPS trackers nestled within the construction equipment. On the scene, 3 vehicles are present: Jessica Grant's Honda, Jean's truck, and a sleek black Escalade, belonging to Daniel Moore. The esteemed doctor found himself intricately entangled in the abduction of Wayne's family. The unveiling of that truth brought clarity to the situation, easing the complexities significantly. The intricate financial plot that Cameron had meticulously devised had now taken a backseat to a far more primal act of wrongdoing. A rationale that afforded Wayne the legal grounds for nearly any reaction he deemed appropriate. What is the number of individuals we are considering? Wayne inquired, examining the skeletal structure of steel and concrete with night vision binoculars. No fewer than 4. Jean, Sarah, Cameron, and an enigmatic presence. There is potential for greater depth. Wayne's phone vibrated, signaling the arrival of yet another message. Ascend to the 15th floor, but do so in solitude. Kindly provide the access codes for the Fried Digital Ventures account. The safety of your family hinges on your willingness to work together. Roberto peered at the message, his gaze fixed intently over Wayne's shoulder. Their desire lies in the realm of cryptocurrency investment. The crux of the matter revolves around the $2 million. Wayne found himself on the brink of laughter, captivated by the irony of the situation. Sarah and Cameron had devised a cunning scheme, a kidnapping meticulously planned to siphon funds from an investment that was nothing more than a snare set for them. They had progressed from infidelity and financial deceit to the grave crime of kidnapping, all to gain access to a fund that Wayne had meticulously crafted as a lure. Wayne informed Roberto of a shift in their plans. I shall ascend, but not in the manner they anticipate. You'll grant me precisely 12 minutes before you summon the reinforcements. Wayne meticulously crafted the Meridian Tower, embedding layers of security into its very design, incorporating access routes that would remain hidden from any blueprint shared with contractors or suppliers. A service elevator linked the basement level directly to essential floors, completely circumventing the primary construction zones. Of greater significance, Wayne had taken it upon himself to install temporary security cameras throughout the building. Cameras that David Crawford was unaware of, having been installed by Roberto's team without adhering to the usual construction protocols. As Wayne navigated the shadowy corridors of the building, Roberto relayed crucial intelligence via an encrypted radio system, ensuring every step was informed and precise. For targets have been confirmed. In the northeast corner, Ethan Grant and Jessica Grant find themselves safe and sound, their well-being intact. To be why the south windows, Sarah and Cameron find themselves in quiet conversation. Jean stands vigilant by the main elevator, ever watchful. Wayne's fury had solidified into a chilling and concentrated force. These individuals had menaced his nephew, instilled fear in his sister, and turned his own employee against him. They had transgressed every boundary that held significance for him, breached every tenet that shaped his existence. At this moment, they were about to discover the true significance of it all. The service elevator delivered Wayne to the 14th floor, just one level shy of his intended targets. With the aid of construction access ladders, he navigated quietly through the building's steel skeleton, finally achieving a clear view of the operation unfolding below. Amidst the uneven planks of the makeshift flooring, He caught sight of Ethan Grant and Jessica Grant bound to chairs in what was destined to become a conference room. His nephew looked terrified yet unscathed, while Jessica Grant struggled to contain a tumult of tears and fury. 20 feet away, Sarah engaged in a fervent exchange with Cameron, their voices hushed yet charged with urgency. Even from afar, Wayne could decipher their body language. The cracks in their partnership were beginning to reveal themselves. The act of kidnapping marked a profound escalation from mere adultery and financial deceit, a venture that demanded a depth of criminal resolve that Cameron evidently lacked the readiness to embrace. This was not how it was supposed to unfold, Cameron exclaimed, his hands, skilled yet trembling, pointing toward Ethan Grant and Jessica Grant. Our intention was to utilize the investment information wisely, not to engage in unlawful activities. When Wayne grew suspicious, the plan shifted, Sarah responded. Her voice held a sharpness that Wayne had never encountered before. My husband possesses a greater intellect than you acknowledged. Our only path to obtaining what we require lies in compelling his decision. Wayne had reached his limit with deliberate caution. He navigated the skeletal structure of the construction site, aligning himself precisely above Sarah and Cameron as Roberto commenced his ascent from the primary elevator. The coming moments would decide the fate of Wayne's family, determining if they would emerge from this night whole, while also revealing whether Sarah and Cameron would come to rue their decisions. Yet, just as Wayne was poised to make his move, an unexpected sound reverberated through the halls of the building. Footfalls echoed in the stairwell, a symphony of synchronized movement, each step resonating with an air of disciplined intent. Roberto's voice crackled through the radio, delivering urgent news that altered the course of events forever. Wayne, it appears we have encountered a Dilmaya Fry. 6 more vehicles are making their way toward the site. In the absence of illumination, data flows seamlessly. This transcended mere financial gain. Sarah and Cameron have unwittingly become pieces in a far grander scheme. Wayne felt a chill seep through him as the truth dawned upon him. Every thread of the kidnapping, the financial manipulation, and even Sarah's affair had been woven together by an unseen hand, a person who grasped the intricacies of Wayne's business empire sufficiently to methodically exploit its vulnerabilities. A person who had meticulously orchestrated this endeavor for months, perhaps even years. As armed figures surged into the building, Wayne realized he had been outsmarted by an adversary he hadn't even known was there. Yet, he possessed a knowledge that eluded his adversaries. Mark Lawson devoted his entire life to the art of preparation, honing his skills for battles he fervently wished would remain untested. Tonight, the culmination of his efforts would either safeguard his family or unravel the very foundation he had painstakingly constructed. The true conflict was only just commencing. Chapter 7. The siege. The armed figures traversing Wayne's building were not mere random criminals. They glided with an unsettling precision, an almost eerie coordination. From his hidden vantage point within the steel framework, Wayne observed 8 figures clad in tactical gear maneuvering across the 15th floor with a precision reminiscent of military operations. Roberto's voice crackled through the encrypted radio, a fragile thread of sound in the static-laden air. Wayne, I'm observing the outside closely. These individuals are far from inexperienced. Expert equipment, expert execution. A considerable sum was invested in this operation. Wayne's thoughts surged with the weight of the possibilities. The scheme devised by Sarah and Cameron to orchestrate a kidnapping was merely a facade, concealing a far grander design that necessitated such extensive manpower and meticulous coordination. Yet, what could his construction enterprise hold that would warrant such a grand endeavor? The revelation unfolded as the team leader lifted his helmet, exposing a visage that Wayne had come to know from the security briefings. Alan Platt, a former military contractor entangled in a web of high-profile corporate espionage cases. Platt found himself in the employ of an individual possessing substantial wealth and keen insights into the intricacies of Wayne's business dealings. "Mr. Fry," Platt called out, his voice reverberating through the stark concrete expanse. "I am aware of your presence within these walls. Your family is in our possession, and we possess something that will capture your interest. Step forward, and we can settle this in a manner befitting civilized individuals." Wayne held his tongue, taking the moment to evaluate his strategic position. 8 armed professionals facing off against a solitary construction executive and a security consultant painted a grim picture of the odds in a direct confrontation. Yet Wayne possessed advantages they had not foreseen: a profound understanding of the building's intricate design, mastery over its mechanisms, and unexpected allies lurking in the shadows. Wayne, Roberto's voice carried an unmistakable urgency. I've noticed activity on 3 additional floors. They have come for more than just Ethan Grant and Jessica Grant. They are meticulously combing through every corner of the building. That revelation sharpened Wayne's insight into the situation. A shadow loomed over him, for someone had uncovered the advanced construction techniques he had been meticulously crafting, the proprietary building systems that bestowed upon Fry Construction its distinct edge in the market. This transcended mere financial gain or the desire for retribution. It was a case of industrial espionage so vast that it threatened to dismantle his enterprise and obliterate all that he had painstakingly constructed. Yet Wayne had anticipated this eventuality. The Meridian Tower represented not merely his grandest endeavor. It stood as his most fortified stronghold. Concealed within the structure were layers of security protocols that transcended the typical safeguards found at construction sites. Roberto, initiate Lockdown Protocol 7. Wayne commanded with an air of authority. Wayne, that will ensnare everyone in the building, ourselves included. That is precisely the essence. They arrived with the intent to take from me. We should ensure they have ample opportunity to reflect on that choice. Lockdown Protocol 7 represented Wayne's strategic response to precisely this type of menace. With a swift series of taps on his phone, he initiated protocols that sealed every exit, rendered all elevators inoperable except for the one under his command, and transformed the building's construction lights into a disorienting strobe pattern, a tactic designed to bewilder anyone lacking the specialized glasses that Wayne and Roberto possessed. The impact was swift and catastrophic. Platt's team found themselves ensnared within a building transformed into a labyrinth of pulsating lights and locked corridors, completely forfeiting their tactical edge. Amidst the chaos, their once seamless coordination unraveled, leaving them grappling to navigate an environment wholly dominated by Wayne. That was an error, Fry. Platt's voice rang out, now tinged with the initial whisper of doubt. Your own family is ensnared within these walls alongside us. Wayne glided through the steel framework, a shadow among shadows, employing his intimate understanding of the building's layout to take his place above Platt's unsuspecting position. From his perspective, he observed Sarah distancing herself from Cameron, seemingly coming to the realization that she had been manipulated as a mere piece in another's scheme. Allow me to share a thought on mistakes, Wayne proclaimed, his voice resonating through the construction site with undeniable command. It was a grave error to believe that my family could be wielded as a weapon against me. The error lay in the assumption that you could pilfer from me on my own grounds. The greatest oversight lay in failing to recognize that I had been readying myself for this conversation throughout my entire career. Wayne's phone vibrated, revealing a message from a familiar number. Luke Higgins, his accountant. The coordinates he sent pointed to the basement of the building, suggesting that Luke was not alone down there, but had backup on hand. The cavalry that Wayne had meticulously prepared stood poised and ready, awaiting the command to advance. Yet, the most poignant message arrived from Maya Fry, his 16-year-old daughter, whose text conveyed a profound simplicity. Dad, we're safe. Uncle Roberto led us through the hidden service tunnels, a secret passageway that whispered of adventure and escape. Unleash your fury upon them. Wayne's family enjoyed a sense of security. At this moment, he could concentrate on the strategic challenge posed by 8 armed experts who had erred in stepping into his territory with malevolent aims. Amidst the chaos of disorienting lights and sealed exits, Platt's team grappled with their predicament, while Wayne set in motion the second phase of his meticulously crafted defensive strategy. The Meridian Tower was crafted with an array of redundant systems, featuring construction elevators that could function autonomously from the primary building controls. With his master access codes in hand, Wayne set about systematically dividing Platt's team into distinct areas of the building, transforming their once cohesive tactical formation into a disarray of isolated individuals grappling with an uncontrollable environment. Your move, Platt, Wayne declared. However, it's important to understand that my intention in creating this space extended far beyond merely accommodating offices. I constructed it to be unassailable. Prepare yourself to uncover the true significance of that statement. The siege had commenced, yet Mark Lawsone had ceased to be the focus of attention. He was the hunter, and his quarry had stepped into the most intricate snare he had ever devised, almost as if drawn by an unseen force. Chapter 8: The collapse. With his family secure and Platt's team dispersed across the structure, Wayne turned his attention to the methodical dismantling of his foes. Yet, before anything else, he had to unravel the identity of those behind this operation and comprehend the reasoning that led them to deem Wayne's construction technology worthy of such significant peril. Sarah's voice echoed through the building's intercom, a desperate attempt to navigate her way out of a situation that had spiraled far beyond her control. Wayne, this was not how it was meant to unfold. Sarah's voice trembled, laced with a palpable sense of panic and remorse. They insisted it was merely a matter of finances, a quest for what I was owed after a decade and a half of union. I never consented to being involved in kidnapping or armed assault. Wayne engaged the building's communication system, his voice resonating through every floor at once. Sarah, you made your choice the instant you turned your back on our family. Yet, you are correct in one regard. This has always transcended mere financial matters. It appears that someone has been leveraging your presence to reach me, and I am eager to uncover their identity. The security cameras of the building, now fully under Wayne's command, unveiled that Platt's team had divided into 3 factions in a bid to restore their tactical alignment. Yet, the strobing lights and locked corridors had thrown their gear and communication into disarray, transforming seasoned warriors into bewildered souls grappling with a setting that appeared crafted to undermine their every effort. Indeed, it was Roberto's voice crackled through Wayne's earpiece, a sound both familiar and unsettling. Wayne, there's activity in the basement. There appears to be an attempt to infiltrate the foundational systems of the building. If they seek your construction technology, that is where they will uncover the most invaluable insights. Wayne felt a chill seep through his veins. Concealed within the very foundation of the Meridian Tower lay the prototypes of cutting-edge building techniques, embodying years of meticulous research and development, seismic dampening systems, groundbreaking concrete formulations, and cutting-edge structural engineering innovations that bestowed upon Wayne's buildings an extraordinary level of strength and durability. If rivals were to acquire that technology, it could strip Fry construction of its competitive edge and possibly lead to financial ruin. Secure the basement, Wayne commanded with an air of authority. By any means necessary. As Wayne navigated the corridors of the building, intent on confronting the looming threat to his technology, he stumbled upon a revelation that would forever alter his perception of the entire operation. The security footage disclosed a startling revelation. The individual trying to infiltrate the foundation systems was not among Platt's mercenaries. Daniel Moore had evidently received precise directives regarding what to pilfer and the location of its concealment. Cameron transcended the role of a mere cardiologist entangled in an affair with the wife of a wealthy man. He operated as a corporate spy, wielding medical credentials that served as an impeccable disguise for penetrating the intricate web of Austin's business landscape. His tendency to focus on affluent spouses transcended mere monetary motives. The focus was on collecting insights regarding their spouses' commercial endeavors. Wayne, Roberto's voice carried a sense of urgency. The client has been located. Cameron has been sharing insights with Dwayne Roberson Construction. They have orchestrated a scheme to pilfer your technology while simultaneously dismantling your enterprise. Dwayne Roberson, Wayne's most seasoned rival, the sole contractor in Texas who consistently offered lower bids than Fry Construction on significant projects. For years, Roberson found himself at a disadvantage, consistently losing contracts to Wayne's advanced technology and cutting-edge approaches. Now he had seemingly resolved that if he could not engage in fair competition, he would resort to thievery to acquire what he desired, all while removing Wayne from the equation. The revelation ignited a chilling rage within Wayne, surpassing any emotions he had previously experienced regarding Sarah's betrayal. Roberson had transformed Wayne's marriage into a tool of manipulation, exploiting Sarah's discontent to infiltrate the realm of classified business information. He had even gone so far as to contemplate the kidnapping of Wayne's family to fulfill his nefarious industrial espionage agenda. Yet Roberson had committed a grave mistake. He had misjudged Wayne's resolve to protect his dominion by any means required. Roberto, commence Protocol 9. Wayne instructed with authority. Wayne, that is precisely what it ought to be. Protocol 9 stood as Wayne's last resort, a mechanism he had fervently wished to keep dormant. Concealed within the Meridian Tower lay a series of controlled demolition charges, cleverly disguised as part of future renovation plans. In truth, they were meticulously placed to dismantle targeted sections of the structure should it ever face a threat from hostile forces. Wayne had no intention of bringing down the entire structure. He was far from a terrorist. Yet, he held the power to bring down the basement level where Cameron was trying to pilfer his technology, while simultaneously sealing off the upper floors where Platt's team found themselves ensnared, crafting a dire scenario in which his adversaries would be forced to decide between capitulation and entombment. With Wayne's finger poised above the activation codes, Sarah's voice echoed through the intercom for one last time. Wayne, I implore you, I recognize the devastation I've wrought upon our relationship, yet I beg you not to allow the innocent to suffer for my errors. Wayne halted, a realization dawning upon him that his wife's treachery had brought him to this juncture. Yet he could not ignore the truth in her words regarding the repercussions of the choice that lay ahead. Should he activate Protocol 9, it would almost certainly result in the deaths of multiple individuals, Cameron included, and perhaps even some of Platt's mercenaries, who were merely adhering to commands rather than exercising tactical judgment. Mark Lawson dedicated his life to the art of construction, crafting enduring structures that would not only withstand the test of time but also serve as the bedrock for the aspirations of others. The thought of witnessing the fruits of his labor being taken and obliterated by those devoid of the insight and commitment to forge their own paths was unbearable to him. Mark Lawson's voice resonated through the building's communication system, making his presence known. You have 1 minute to yield and make your way out via the service elevator. Those who dare to steal from me or threaten my family beyond that deadline will inevitably confront the repercussions of their actions. The clock was ticking, and Wayne's adversaries were about to learn a harsh truth. Some men would rather raise their own creations than allow them to fall into the hands of those unworthy of their legacy. Chapter 9. Foundation 57 seconds. Wayne observed intently through the security monitors, noting the wave of panic that swept through the building. Platt's mercenaries, skilled in the art of combat yet ill-equipped to face the looming psychological strain of an imminent structural failure, started to forsake their posts, gravitating toward the service elevator that Wayne had marked as their sole escape route. Daniel Moore remained in the basement, immersed in the task of downloading Wayne's proprietary technology. He worked with an intensity that reflected the gravity of his situation, acutely aware that failure would spell both professional and personal ruin. He had seemingly been assured a considerable reward for unveiling Wayne's construction secrets, sufficient to vanish for good and embark on a fresh existence in a place where Dwayne Roberson's reach could not shield him. Yet Sarah had stepped toward the elevator, her instincts for survival eclipsing any loyalty she harbored for Cameron or the mission that had engulfed her marriage. 43 seconds. Roberto's voice crackled through Wayne's earpiece, a faint whisper of urgency in the static-laden air. Wayne, this is your final opportunity to reflect on your decision. Once you set those charges in motion, there's no turning back. This experience will transform you into someone entirely new. Wayne grasped the depth of Roberto's concern. Taking the lives of others, even those who posed a threat to his family and had robbed him of his livelihood, would alter him at his core. Wayne had devoted his life to navigating the labyrinth of difficult decisions, weighing competing priorities, and embracing the weight of their consequences. Since the moment they threatened Ethan Grant, I've been a changed man, Wayne replied. All that follows is merely a matter of reconciling debts. 31 seconds. From the vantage of the security cameras, Wayne observed as Cameron came to the stark realization that his escape route had been thwarted. The basement access that Wayne had permitted him to utilize was now firmly sealed, leaving Cameron ensnared with the very technology he had sought to pilfer. Wayne mused on the irony of it all, a fitting retribution for a man who had devoted months to weaving himself into the fabric of Wayne's family, all in pursuit of the elusive secrets of his enterprise. 28 seconds. With urgency coursing through her veins, Sarah approached the service elevator, her finger dancing over the call button in a desperate attempt to summon it. She seemed convinced that she could escape the confines of the building before Wayne's deadline loomed over her like a dark cloud. Yet Wayne held the reins of that elevator, resolute in his decision to prevent his wife from evading the repercussions of her actions. Wayne watched through the elevator's internal camera, observing the moment Sarah's expression shifted as she grasped that the elevator had ceased to respond. A sense of dread, a heavy burden of remorse, and an emerging realization that Wayne's forgiveness had slipped beyond reach. For months, she meticulously orchestrated her treachery, enlisting accomplices and crafting intricate plans to pilfer from him. In that moment, she realized that Wayne's ability for strategic thought surpassed her own. 15 seconds. Wayne's phone vibrated, signaling a message from none other than Dwayne Roberson. "Fry, let us engage in a discussion with the acumen of seasoned professionals. There is no necessity for anyone to suffer harm. I present a proposal that serves the interests of all involved." Wayne nearly allowed a smile to break at the irony of the situation. Having meticulously crafted a web of espionage, manipulation, and abduction over the course of several months, Roberson now sought to engage in negotiations as if they were civilized rivals. Yet, Wayne had discovered early on in his journey that certain individuals only acknowledged power, only grasped the weight of repercussions administered with unwavering certainty. 10 seconds. Cameron's voice reverberated through the building's intercom system, likely having infiltrated via the emergency communication panel in the basement. "Wayne, I possess insights regarding additional operations aimed at your enterprise. Individuals who render my efforts seem trivial. Grant me the gift of life, and I shall reveal all that I know." 5 seconds. Wayne's finger hovered over the activation codes, then hesitated. Not due to Cameron's proposal. Wayne had the means to uncover his other adversaries. Yet a profound realization had been simmering throughout this entire confrontation. He had the power to ruin them without resorting to murder. Wayne halted the demolition sequence, opting instead to engage a protocol of a different nature, one that promised to inflict far greater devastation upon his foes than a mere swift demise. Rather than allowing the basement to cave in, Wayne activated an alternative mechanism, industrial-grade concrete pumps that commenced the process of filling the basement with quick-setting cement. Cameron had a mere 90 seconds to navigate the emergency ventilation shafts, a fleeting window before the basement sealed itself as a final resting place for Dwayne Roberson's clandestine operation. In the meantime, Wayne engaged the magnetic locks that secured the upper floors, effectively isolating the Platt's mercenaries within distinct areas of the building. Simultaneously, he initiated a connection to law enforcement, providing them with comprehensive evidence of the mercenaries' illicit actions. When the police finally arrived, Wayne had meticulously compiled a thorough record of industrial espionage, kidnapping, and armed assault, evidence poised to secure substantial prison sentences for all parties implicated. Yet, it was Wayne's brilliant move that was saved for Sarah. As she found herself ensnared in the confines of the service elevator, Wayne engaged the building's communication system for what he knew would be the last time. "Sarah, this evening you will step out of this building. You will come back to our home, gather your things, and vanish from our lives for good. You shall gain absolutely nothing from our divorce. Funds are lacking. There is no property. We have no communication with our children. Should you dare to reach out to me or my family once more, the documentation I've gathered regarding your involvement in this evening's affair will be presented to the district attorney shortly." Wayne took a moment, allowing the gravity of his words to resonate before pronouncing his ultimate decision. "You made the choice to shatter our family for the sake of wealth and a man who merely saw you as a piece in another's strategy. You are now bound to the repercussions of that decision for all your days to come." As the elevator doors slid apart, Sarah emerged into the Austin night, a solitary figure marked by the weight of her shattered marriage and the ruins of her future, all brought about by her own betrayals. Afterward, half a year had passed, and Wayne found himself in his office, gazing out at the finished Meridian Tower. It now stood as the most secure commercial structure in Texas, a testament to his unwavering determination to overcome the machinations of his adversary. Daniel Moore received a 15-year sentence for his involvement in corporate espionage and kidnapping. Dwayne Roberson's construction company crumbled beneath the burden of criminal inquiries and civil litigation. Alan Platt and his band of mercenaries found themselves ensnared in the confines of prison, their sentences stretching out like an unyielding horizon, ensuring their absence from the streets for decades to come. Sarah vanished without a trace, departing from Austin on the night of their confrontation and never looking back. Their divorce had reached its conclusion in absentia, with Wayne securing full custody of Maya Fry and Luke Fry. Neither child inquired about their mother's absence, seemingly grasping that certain betrayals could irreparably fracture familial ties. David Crawford, once Wayne's trusted foreman, had succumbed to the lure of greed, betraying him for a handful of coins. But justice, as it often does, found its way through the intricate web of Wayne's connections among contractors and suppliers. Gene's prospects in Texas construction had dimmed irrevocably, sealing the fate of his career and compelling him to seek opportunities beyond the state's borders. Ethan Grant and Jessica Grant emerged from their trials, with Jessica Grant finding a newfound respect for her brother's unwavering protective nature and the extraordinary measures he would take to safeguard their family. Ethan Grant, embodying the tenacity unique to youth, had resumed his pursuit of Wayne at the construction sites, peppering him with a barrage of inquiries about the intricacies of building techniques. Roberto made his way to Wayne's desk, clutching the morning security briefing, a ritual that had gained significance in the wake of the Meridian Tower incident, which had starkly illustrated the dangers that accompanied Wayne's success. "Are there any new issues arising?" Wayne inquired. "In fact, quite the contrary," Roberto responded, a subtle smile gracing his lips. "Whispers have spread about the fate that befell those who dared to defy you. Our competitors have shown a notable increase in respect, and we have not encountered a single instance of industrial espionage since that time." Wayne nodded, a look of quiet understanding on his face. Fear served as a formidable catalyst, and the construction sector had perpetually thrived within a landscape governed by the weight of reputation. His management of Sarah, Cameron, and their associates conveyed an unmistakable message. Mark Lawson guarded his possessions with an unwavering ferocity, and to cross him meant facing repercussions that reached far beyond mere retribution. Maya Fry rapped on the office door, stepping inside with the assuredness of a young woman who had embraced her father's formidable strength and keen intellect. At the age of 17, she began to exhibit a keen interest in the family business, along with leadership qualities that hinted at the continuation of the Fry legacy into the next generation. "Dad, Luke Fry and I need to discuss something with you," she said, easing into the chair opposite Wayne's desk. "What thoughts are swirling in your head?" "We are aware of what Mother has done. We are aware of the reasons for her departure and the certainty of her absence, and we wish for you to recognize that we comprehend the manner in which you chose to respond." Wayne experienced a tumultuous blend of pride and pain, each emotion vying for dominance within him. His children had been compelled to mature swiftly due to Sarah's betrayals, yet they had risen from the ordeal with a profound grasp of loyalty, family, and the significance of safeguarding what was most dear. Wayne spoke with caution, acknowledging the choices made by your mother that led to the unraveling of our family. "I chose to safeguard what remained. At tea times, those may be the sole choices at our disposal." Maya Fry nodded, her expression reflecting a depth of understanding that could only be gained through the experience of facing the realities of adult life. "We understand, Dad, and we want you to be aware that we take pride in your unwavering fight for us." Luke Fry stood in the doorway, now 15, already reflecting the strong build and fervent intensity that marked Wayne. "Maya Fry is indeed correct. You took the necessary steps. We are bound by blood, and it is our duty to safeguard one another." Wayne gazed at his children, realizing that Sarah's betrayal had, in an unexpected twist, fortified the connections among those family members who had chosen to stay true. Maya Fry and Luke Fry came to realize that their father was more than merely a prosperous entrepreneur. He was a man willing to give up everything to safeguard those he cherished. Yet, they were acutely aware that Wayne's guardianship was accompanied by certain expectations. In the Fry family, loyalty reigned supreme, while betrayal bore consequences that echoed through eternity. Sarah discovered that lesson only after it was too late. Wayne's children had grasped it at an early age, a lesson that would mold the trajectory of their lives. "What do you have in mind for this afternoon?" Wayne inquired, shifting the conversation towards more cheerful topics. "Ethan Grant seeks assistance in constructing a treehouse," Luke Fry responded. "I thought it might be beneficial for us to collaborate on this, perhaps imparting some fundamental construction skills to him." Wayne smiled, aware of the enduring family traditions that wove together the threads of past and future. Ethan Grant would come to realize that the art of creation demanded not only skill and dedication but also a vision that distinguished the achievers from those who sought shortcuts to success. As his children ventured off to construct Ethan Grant's treehouse, Wayne immersed himself once more in the intricate blueprints for his upcoming endeavor, a residential development aimed at delivering affordable housing to Austin's expanding community. The construction project, while not destined for enormous profits, promised to forge enduring value for the community it served. Mark Loswan understood early on that genuine success stemmed from the creation of enduring legacies, be they enterprises, structures, or familial bonds. He had come to realize that safeguarding those accomplishments demanded a strength that eluded the comprehension or acceptance of most individuals. Sarah had unearthed the profound truth that Wayne's devotion to his family was unwavering, yet equally steadfast was his reaction to treachery. She had decided to explore both paths, discovering that certain men would prefer to obliterate all they had constructed rather than witness it being taken by those who had not deserved it. Wayne was once more immersed in the act of creation, erecting new edifices and forging fresh opportunities, all the while safeguarding his family with the hard-earned wisdom gleaned from Sarah's betrayal, ensuring their protection for generations ahead. For that was the way of Fry men. They crafted enduring creations, fiercely protecting them with any means required. The foundation stood firm, the structure was robust, and Mark Loswan found himself precisely where he was meant to be, crafting the future while safeguarding against the missteps of the past. Here lies the conclusion of our tale. We invite you to express your insights in the comments section below. I appreciate your time. If this tale resonates with you, consider subscribing to this channel. Tap on the video displayed before you, and I shall meet you there.